Gotta do this for y'all. You talk about just utterly hilarious. So today, Brian Kemp said something, Erica, that was unbelievable. He literally gave a news conference where he said that, you know what, I just learned about how coronavirus can be transmitted. First of all, I just want to play this for y'all. So, Anthony, go ahead and play this.
I think it's the reason I'm taking this action. Just like I've continued to tell people, I'm following the data, I'm following the advice of Dr. Toomey. Her and I both mentioned in our remarks, finding out that this virus is now transmitting before people see signs. So what we've been telling people from directives from the CDC for weeks now, that if you start feeling bad, stay home. Those individuals could have been infecting people before they ever felt bad. Well, we didn't know that until the last 24 hours. And as Dr. Toomey told me, she goes, this is a game changer for us. And I have been listening to her advice. I think it's the reason I'm taking this action, just like I've continued to tell people.
You just learned that in the last 24 hours? Erica, the Centers for Disease Control is down the street. Erica, you from Albany, right? You guys, Erica there?
I'm here.
Okay, Erica, what's the state capital of Georgia?
Atlanta.
So the state capital of Georgia is in Atlanta. Mm-hmm. The Centers for Disease Control is located in Atlanta. And Brian Kemp, the dumbass governor of Georgia, just learned in the last 24 hours you could not show symptoms of coronavirus.
Lies.
The last 24, I'm sorry.
Yeah, and I'm glad you said it the way that you said. It gave me a moment to just smile, because unfortunately, Georgia, which has the fourth largest Black population in the nation, Dougherty County, where I'm from, Albany, is leading in coronavirus cases. And what makes this not laughable to me is that of all of the people that have passed away in Dougherty County, one of those people that passed away after 24 hours on last Saturday was a great asset to the community, and a dear friend, Femi Anderson, who is a proud Albany State University graduate, the Unsinkable Albany State University, and that she also was a big influence in music and culture in the city. And so to have that type of loss from a dear friend, understanding that within that state, this is the same governor who actually stole that title, the same governor who practiced for 8 years while I was living there as well, practiced purging folks from off of the rolls. You're talking about millions of Georgians under his tenure were purged from the roll, and not all of those names added back. You're talking about our personal information was lost at least twice. Voter information supposed to be very much so protected information twice under Brian Kemp's tenure as Secretary of State. So when I hear Brian Kemp talk, all I think about is Trump sycophant. He assumed that governorship under false pretenses. And so to say that he only learned that people were able to be asymptomatic and be carriers of the coronavirus, I don't believe that at all. He's proven himself to not be executive material, to not be a leader. And as you brought up before, and I believe it was Dr. Carr maybe that brought it up before, that were it not for Akeisha Lance Bottoms and many of those individuals who are Black and who have a very good understanding that when we talk, when we provide solutions, we're not just providing solutions for our community. It is for the net benefit of all. And so
it's crazy. You're the governor. I'm trying to figure out all these people. We just found out. We didn't realize these things could happen. Every day we have been talking about how you can get it. You don't have to show symptoms. Every day, oh my goodness, we didn't know that the last 24 hours, we just figured out what was going on. Oh my goodness.
People will believe that.
I don't get it.
And run with it.
Reese, it makes no sense.
Yeah, I mean, it's bullshit. Let's just be honest. I mean, have you talked to your fellow Republican governors, Governor DeWine in Ohio or Governor Larry Hogan in Maryland are doing a really good job of responding to this? Are you talking to Donald Trump? I know he's had conference calls with different governors. Are you paying attention to Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms, who's doing extraordinary work down there in Atlanta? You have to literally have your head under a rock to not understand that asymptomatic people can transmit the coronavirus. And now today we're even hearing that you could potentially transmit coronavirus just by simply breathing or talking. And so he, of all people, a person who's responsible for a major state in this country that's having an outbreak, needs to be on top of this stuff. There is absolutely no reason, no excuse for it. I mean, like Erica said, we all know that he's lying, but just the fact that he feels emboldened enough to be that ignorant or to pretend to be that ignorant says a lot about his Republican supporters in the Republican Party, period.
Greg, when you look at, again, the reason I find this to be laughable, because we already know Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, chief idiot. Then he got moved aside as chief idiot by Mississippi Governor Tate Reeves. With this comment right here, Brian Kemp is now the chief idiot.
Well, they all sing in the same chief idiot choir. If you were making a cartoon and literally drew what an idiot would look like, you've named 3 living caricatures who would be in that cartoon. These are men who either stole elections, see DeSantis and Kemp, or are in states like the Governor Tate Reeves of Mississippi, where people have chosen their whiteness over their life. The fact that you've got to have cease and desist orders sent to companies like Hobby Lobby. And remember Hobby Lobby from the Supreme Court case a couple of years ago, where they were fighting not to give and allow their employees to have contraception and be covered with insurance. You are talking about ideologues. Brian Kemp is a liar. What we heard Sister Savage Wilson say with the eloquent phrase used in our Black American community, lies, lies. He's a liar, and ignorance and deceit are not mutually exclusive. At that same press conference, he threw his chief medical advisor under the bus, and she's standing back there like the same hostages on Donald Trump's daily press conference, not saying a word. Well, I rely on her. And then, meanwhile, when you interviewed Mayor Lance Bottoms yesterday, she named the guy at the Emory Medical Center she's in contact with every day, who told her, you've got to the 24th of...
All right, looks like Greg is frozen up. But I want to. Is Greg there? Did it unfreeze? All right, Greg, finish your point. Go ahead.
No. I was just going to say very quickly that Lance Bottoms, using medical advice, then went on to immediately sequester Atlanta. The bottom line is this, brother. You've named it with Kemp. These are liars, and they're using ignorance as an excuse. But at the end of the day, people need to understand these rogue ideologues are willing to sacrifice your life to get and maintain power. That's the bottom line.
Anthony, I want you to go to my iPad. Folks, this is an interactive map from the New York Times, okay? You see where the gray is on the far left is no travel, okay? That's no travel. That gray you see on the left, The darker portion, darker stuff is, you see, it's called closer to normal travel. Look at that. Now remember, they always talk about these elections, and they're always talking about, southern states. Look at all those red states. The dark color and the lighter color. So let me say it again, y'all. The gray area of this New York Times map, that's called no travel. As you see this map, what is it telling you? You see New York, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Maryland, D.C., New Jersey, Pennsylvania, most of Ohio, West Virginia, Illinois, Wisconsin. Then you go to most places in Colorado, New Mexico. You see, you look at California, Washington State, Oregon State. But look at all those red states. North Carolina, South Carolina, Florida, Arkansas, Mississippi. Y'all, this is as of last week. That's why this damn thing is spreading. It is spreading because these ignorant governors were so idiotic and did not want to tell people to keep their ass at home. And guess who's now getting sicker? Those same states. Greg, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say very quickly, much of that activity in the states where our people are, especially the South, as the Times article kind of goes on to explain, is because our people are at the bottom of the socioeconomic order, which means they are the ones who are in the grocery stores, who are still at the bodegas, who have to travel to work. And also, they are also the ones who have to go farther, particularly in the South. And Erica knows this as a Southerner like we are. They have to go farther to get supplies from a grocery store. So in the red, even in those states where our people are, that red isn't necessarily because they want to be out. That blood red underscores your point. There's still 12 states that haven't shut down.
This is what is driving me crazy here is that this is death. Reese, this is literally death. These people are putting their livelihood. I mean, these governors are playing games. This is no time for games. Reese, go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. And another thing to point out is you have like Governor Ron DeSantis, who finally decided to put in a stay-at-home order. But then the things that they classify as essential services, and Brian Kemp is guilty of this as well, basically allows for business as usual. I mean, if you are allowing churches to have these large gatherings, where we know from one particular choir rehearsal that happened a couple of weeks ago, where more than half of the people who came just for rehearsal ended up coming down with coronavirus, that, you know, you cannot allow large gatherings, whether it's for church, and we love the Lord, but you need to see the Lord on Skype or on these online, you know, programs, instead of going into church and infecting other people. So even with these stay-at-home orders, they're not equal stay-at-home orders. And I think that some Republicans are kind of putting in such lenient stay-at-home orders that they're not going to be effective. And even today, I saw on CNN earlier that the death projections that, you know, Donald Trump and his folks have been trying to socialize or normalize us, that 100,000 plus people will die, even that has been, you know, revised upwards because the social distancing and the stay-at-home orders have not been effective enough, and they have not been widespread enough.
Well, they're not effective, Erica, because unless you go hard, like they did in California, and force people to stay inside, they're not going to do it. And I'm telling you right now, we're going to discuss it a little bit later, these churches, Reverend Jackson had a phone call today, Erica, with more than 1,000 churches trying to get these black pastors to keep their behind at home. Your home city, Albany, somebody was infected, went to a funeral in Albany, Georgia a couple of weeks ago, infected a number of people. 30 people in Albany have now died as a result. People need to understand this thing does not discriminate, and we're going to be the ones who really get hurt by it the most. Erica, final comment before I go to the break and come back with the Kamala Harris interview.
Right. And so faith without works really is truly dead. So I think what people, and Reese mentioned it, I mean, as a believer, we actually have to employ faith in action. And as a person who believes in what that means your tithes and your offerings, treat it like a monthly bill, but sow into wherever you are fed. And just on the Albany piece, I just want to mention, because I don't think that there was mention of this, right before those funerals, Albany had a marathon and a half marathon that drew upwards of 1,200 people from 34 states and 7 foreign countries to help qualify for the Boston Marathon, the Snickers Marathon. They've been doing it for 14 years. So that, coupled with being a couple days later, you have this funeral gathering, really did make Albany a hot spot for coronavirus in the state of Georgia, unfortunately.
Well, that is quite unfortunate. All right, folks, so we figured out our technical issues, and so here is the interview that I promised earlier with Senator Kamala Harris. Fam, I want you to like, share, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, youtube.com/Roland S. Martin. And don't forget to turn on your notifications.